All right, welcome back. And now we're going to have a conversation on the DIY segment. And we're going to find out how to make homemade headbands, headgear, headbands. Now, I've been joined today by my guest, who is, of course, the CEO of Le Chapeau. And Le Chapeau is involved in doing all of this beautiful creations that you're going to see here on the set this morning. Her name is Elizabeth Awatey, and she's the CEO of Le Chapeau. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Yes, you're welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Now, you're going to show us how to make these beautiful pieces. What are we going to learn today? Just take it away.
Okay, so for starters, what I'm coming to display here is fascinators and headbands, as you already said. Yeah, so first of all, fascinators can be made with different materials. And so, for instance, you can use this material. It's called a crinoline.
Crinoline?
Yeah, crinoline. You can use this for a simple fascinator. If you are not really into business, you just, a regular person and you feel like you want to make something simple for an occasion, you can use this. And then we have another material called the cinnamon. Yeah, it's called the cinnamon. It's also used in molding fascinators.
Okay, this looks more like what we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
At least I've seen a few fascinators made with material like this one.
Yeah.
Okay. It's called what again?
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon. Okay.
Yeah. So as you can see here, I used just fabric right here to mold this.
Okay.
And so to mold a fascinator, you will need a mold. Some people call it blocks, hat blocks.
Okay, so something like this.
Yes.
This is a mold.
So we have different shapes.
Okay.
So this particular shape is what I used to mold this particular one.
Okay.
So depending on the shape and style you need, you will have to buy the appropriate mold for it.
Okay.
Yes.
Super.
And when you mold your your cinnamon, the fabric is kind of very flexible, but you need to keep the shape of the mold.
Okay.
So for that, you will need a millinery wire.
Okay.
Okay, so if you look in here, I didn't close this up so you can see.
Okay.
You will need a millinery wire, but most of the time, when you mold something small like this and you're trying to use a millinery wire, it's kind of difficult to insert it in there.
Okay.
So personally, I found out that I could use this material. It's called bone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bone.
Yeah. Fashion designers use it a lot.
Okay.
So it's plastic. So that's what I have in here.
Okay. So that's looks like some nylon plastic.
Yeah, it's plastic.
Okay. Fantastic. And then this one is the
millinery wire.
The millinery wire.
Yeah, we have different types.
It's like copper.
Yes.
Looks like copper. Okay. Wow. Let's see what this looks like in here. So you said that you fit it in here.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you use the bone in here. Okay. So that's what holds the shape.
It in shape.
The shape together.
Yes.
Okay.
So like this one, for instance, because it's wider, what is in here is the wire.
Is the wire.
Yes.
Okay. I see. All right. So how long have you been doing this for?
I started this in 2019, August 2019.
Oh, I see. That's not too long ago.
Yeah.
I see. And you learned all of this here. Okay, so let's show us how to make one. Let's get into it. Let's
okay,
try and make something.
If you want to mold a cinnamon into a fascinator, you would have to wrap, first of all, we are going to use something called a stiffener. Okay. Okay. So
what does a stiffener do?
It hardens the material. Yes, to keep it in shape. Okay. It's been pre-hardened, but then for you to get the shape, when you wrap it around the mold, you will need to apply the stiffener again to get it in shape. Okay. Yes, so first of all, when you apply the stiffener, it's going to stick on the wood. So you would need something to protect the wood. To protect the wood.
Easy to separate.
Yes. So to mold a fascinator, you just get your mold. Yeah. This is too big, so assuming I want to use this, I'll have to cut just a sample of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, when you use just one, you wouldn't get it as firm as you want. So you will have to cut about two of this.
Okay.
And then...
So like a double layer?
Yes, a double layer. So you wrap it around the mold. First of all, you have to wet this I think I brought a spray bottle.
Some water?
Yes, you would have to wet this. You can just get a bowl of water and immerse this in it and soften it, because as you can see, it's hard.
Yes.
So when you soften it, you now wrap it around the mold.
Okay.
Now, when you're molding it, for you to get everything, you see, as you can see, there are ridges all around it, but you want to get it very smooth.
Yeah.
So you will need your push pins.
Okay.
So you will have to go around it north, east, south and west, and applying the push pin. That's after you've made this wet.
Okay.
So you apply the pins all around it.
Okay.
So after you've done that, you look at the areas.
So how many pins will? So are you going to pin it as tight as possible all the way around?
As much as possible, all the way around until you get all the edges smoothened out.
Okay.
Completely smoothened out.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to take your time and do it.
Okay.
So as you go, you just be, aligning them,
making sure that
there are
as smooth as this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So after you are done with that, you now use your stiffener. You pour it into a bowl. This is having quite a very thick consistency, and you don't want it that way.
So is it like a glue?
Kind of like a starch.
Oh, okay. So
used
like
in hardening fabrics. Yeah. Okay. So you mix it up a little bit with some water to the consistency you desire.
Okay.
So after that, you get a brush and apply it all over the stem.
Yeah.
Then you leave it in the sun to dry.
Okay.
So after it dries, you take it off the mold. You would get something like this with the rough edges as you are seeing, but you would have to trim the edges off
to get it to be as smooth as this one. Okay.
Now, for you to be able to insert your wire, that is why you are using the mold. So the edges allows you to fold it in, so that the edges will be able to hold the wire inside.
I see.
Yeah.
So this one's mold. Where is this one's mold?
This.
No, this one.
This one.
This is the one in here. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you fold over the edge.
Yes.
Okay, so that you still have access to it. You can put in the wire. So that's when you put in this wire. Okay.
So when you are done, you now want to embellish because this is just the base.
Yeah.
So you will need your embellishment. So maybe you need a flower. If you want to use a crinoline, you can use a crinoline. If you want to still use the cinnamon, you can use a cinnamon. So this is a kind of like a champagne gold cinnamon. You can blend it with the wine, and it will blend well.
So show us what that's like.
So for this one, I just cut. Before you can get this shape, you will need to cut this fabric on the bias.
Okay, what does that mean?
Yeah, when I say on the bias, as in when you look at this part, when you pull it, you see that it stretches.
Yes.
But on this, when you pull it doesn't stretch.
Yeah,
because you will need to, if you cut it this way, you wouldn't be able to.
So which one is the one you're looking for? Cutting on the side that stretches?
On the side that stretches, and that's what we call the bias.
Okay.
Yeah, so you take your cinnamon, you cut it on the bias. So when you get the quantity you need, you wet it just as you do for the base. You make it wet, and then you fold the edges in and iron it. Yeah. So in ironing this, because this has been pre-stiffened, it's kind of like a starch. You can't iron on it directly. It's going to stick under your iron. So you will need to put kind of like a paper on top of it before you iron, and then you get this shape.
Okay.
So after you've gotten this, so let's assume we want to embellish this particular base. So this is where your creativity comes to play. You know what you're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can do any style you want.
Okay. So do something for us. Let's see what we can get. Okay, so whilst you're doing that, let me ask you a few questions. So how has business been like?
Okay, business has been up and down. Sometimes it goes very high, a lot of clients, sometimes it goes low. Because the stuff I do is kind of like occasional stuff. So people only demand for it when they have an occasion, like a wedding, a naming ceremony, a birthday party.
Continue whilst you're talking.
Yeah, a birthday party. So I brought this to demonstrate that for you to embellish for me, I would first of all pin it. This thing is penetrable.
Okay.
Yeah, so I first of all pin it onto it and look at the design.
Okay.
If I like
the
yes.
way it looks. Okay.
Yeah, so if I like the way it looks on the mannequin, then I'll go ahead. If I don't like it, then it means I would want to change it.
Yeah.
Yes, so assuming I'm just using this, okay, and I want to add this flower. I mean, when you are using these flowers to embellish, you don't want these parts to show.
No.
So maybe you would need your pliers to, it has wires in there, so you have to cut this parts off, or you can just fold it in.
Okay.
And then place it on it and see the way it looks.
It looks okay.
If you like the look, so for me, I pin everything.
Interesting.
So you pin it.
So you already know what the final thing will look like.
Exactly.
Anyway. Okay.
Yes.
I see.
So if you see it and you like it, then you now go in for your needle and thread.
Okay.
Yes.
This is really fascinating. The fascinator is fascinating. Yeah.
So because the cinnamon is kind of a hard material, you will need to kind of double up your thread.
Okay.
Into 4 parts, so that when you use it on it, it can stay on there for quite a while, or permanently.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose.
Okay.
Some people use glue, but glue is not the best because after some time it can follow. Yes. So when you sew it on, you know that you have something permanent going on there.
Okay. Okay. But with all this painstaking handwork, it must be quite expensive by the time you're done.
Yeah. In every business or in pricing your products, you would have to take your labor into consideration, the cost of the materials, utility.
How much does one of these cost? Let's say this particular piece that you've done. Assuming we end here, sewing on nicely, it's beautiful, we're going to sell it. How much are we going to look at?
I can sell this for 50 cedis, 60 cedis.
Okay.
It depends.
Okay, but that's also not too expensive. I think it's it's reasonable.
Yeah.
Considering especially the amount of work that goes into it. So show us some of the what it's like. I mean, once you thread it and then you sew it and all that. And then we said we're going to do headbands as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the fascinator side, and then.
At this point, you would have to take your pins off.
Yeah.
And then make sure you hold the shape in place just as you sew it, if you like it.
Yeah.
And then you sew it onto the base.
Okay. So now that you have removed the flower from it completely, will you go back and when you finish sewing, sewing the design onto it, onto the base, will you go back and pin it again and get the positioning right?
Yeah, as many times as possible, just to get the look you desire.
Okay. Nice.
So you can sew, you can go through it as many times as possible just to make sure that
it's firmly
in place. Yeah.
And when somebody buys it after 3 months, it's not coming apart.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can put it back just as you said.
Yeah.
Place the flower here if I think I like it, or maybe I can turn it around and see if I like it this way. But from here, I think I like it here.
Okay.
Yeah. Now with the flowers, sometimes depending on the type of flowers you can sew it on.
Okay.
But with this one, because it's got wires under there, I can wrap the thread around the wire and tuck it in.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to do exactly that.
Okay. We are doing it, with dexterity. I'm just wondering that I'm feeling like the pen will prick your hand, but you're very.
Once you get used to it,
gifted.
It becomes normal to you.
Wow. see. It's coming together nicely.
Yeah.
Okay, so whereabouts are you located if people want to find you?
I'm in Adenta.
Adenta.
Yes.
Okay.
Around animal research. There's an animal research institute.
Yes.
So it's like the whole neighborhood is called animal research. Yes. But it's just a suburb of Adenta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how has social media helped your business?
For me, social media is like my number one selling place. Because I work from home, I don't have a shop. So everything I do, I display it on social media and people see it. Facebook, WhatsApp status, Instagram, people see it and then they contact me. So like social media is my like go-to place, for selling.
Have you had any difficult clients? Because the way you do your work, I mean, you're very meticulous, you pay attention to a lot of detail. So I would imagine that most people will be very happy with your work. But, you know, in business, you can never tell. So I'm just curious. Have you had any difficult?
I've had one difficult client before.
What was the experience like?
You know, there are people who are not willing to pay for delivery. They wish you produce the thing and you bring it to their doorstep, but they are not willing to pay. And this was the kind of client I encountered somewhere last year.
I see.
So I directed her that if she said she didn't want delivery, so she was coming to my area, and I said, okay. I gave her my Google Map location, and she said she couldn't find the place. So I said, okay, then she should meet me at a point. And even with that, because I had to pick a vehicle from my point to meet her, she was like, she was in a hurry, so I should quickly come. I had to pick an Okada, and even with that, she called me and she was complaining, like, you know, that kind of thing. I have volunteered to bring it to you. So there are people like that.
Interesting. Yeah, I know it's not easy to deal with some people's she doesn't want to pay for delivery, but she's going to pick up her fast anyway.
Please, I think I jumped a step and I want to go back.
Which step did we miss?
Yeah, so with this edges, you don't leave it like that and sell it to a client.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have something called a gross grain ribbon or Peter Sham ribbon. Gross grain or Peter Sham.
Gross grain.
Yes. So you would have to get a color that matches, so you can just use black because apparently it's not even going to show.
Do with it?
So you are going to use it to cover the rough edges. So personally what I do, but with this one I don't use the doubled thread. I use just two on it. So you would take your time and sew it along the whole edge.
Oh wow.
Yes, but when you get to the edge you have to make sure that it overlaps this part to cover the rough edges. Yes. So you have to sew it all around.
Okay, but Elizabeth, when I see this, the way it is, how are we going to get it around without having folds?
Eventually it's going to have folds inside, but not on the edges.
Okay.
Yes.
I see. Interesting. Wow. And then so this will be a complete one.
Yeah, that's after you can attach a headband to it or attach a hairpin or a comb. Yeah, I bought something like that. Sorry. Just hope I have it in the basket here. Okay, so let's just assume you're attaching this to a headband. Okay. Yeah. So just as you did for everything you attach, you would have to sew it on. Fortunately, you can take it around the headband. Like let's assume I attached it. So with that, you still have to go back to your mannequin. Place it on it and see the positioning. Yes. Okay. So if I like it this way, maybe I want it this way. Yeah. So I'll make sure that I take it off, holding it in place, and then I sew it on. Okay. And attach it. Can you use a hair clip as an alternative? Yes. Okay, you can use a hair clip. Okay. But with that, you would have to glue it onto it. Okay. Okay. So, but with the headband, you sew it with the hairpin. You glue it. Yeah, you'd have to. Okay. Glue it. Let's look at the hairband. Okay, we have some pictures on the screen here. Talk to us about what we're looking at. Okay, so these are a few of my clients that I do turban caps too. You do turban caps? Yeah, that's the one in the middle there? Yeah, all three of them are turban caps. Okay, so they are actually wearing the turban, and then is it a fascinator or the flower piece? Yes, it's on it. It's attached to it. It's attached to it? Yes. Oh, I see. Okay.
So then how that one? How did they wear it? You did tie it already? Is it already done?
No, it's already done.
Okay,
so you just
put it on.
Oh,
wow. Okay. Nice one. Okay, so take us through how we will do the headband.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for this one, I just brought it for display, but I just want to use the crinoline for a simple headband.
Sure.
Yes. So just as I said, if you are not really into business and you just, you have an occasion, a wedding, and you just want to do something simple, so you can just get your crinoline. Let's assume you want to use this emerald green. Yeah. So you cut it, and then you get a matching thread.
So this time we go for the green
thread.
The
green thread.
Okay.
I hope it's in here.
Yeah, it's here.
Thank you. So the same thing applies to all the stuff. You want to get the thread, because if you use just one layer, it's going to tear as you're sewing. So you want to,
double it up.
Yes.
Okay.
And with this, you can't just use any needle, like those small needles. Like there are needles that are specially made
for this.
Yes.
Okay.
So with that, after you've cut up your piece of crinoline, crinoline easily frays. So you would have to hold the edges together like this and sew it.
Oh.
Yes.
Interesting.
If you don't do this, whilst you are working with it, will just come apart.
Oh, I see.
Like its nature is kind of, you see the way?
Yes.
Yes. So you would have to secure it in place.
Okay.
Then you go to the other end and...
Let's see. Okay, so double 4 times. Okay. Run it through. Wrap it around. Run it through again.
Some people also use glue. You can just, melt your glue.
What's more effective?
For me, I always use the thread. Yeah. Because sometimes sewing through the glue, because after you're done, you're going to attach it to the headband. So if you have the glue on there, it's going to be sticking on your needle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. Okay. Just 2019, and you're doing it with such dexterity. So just amazing to see. So what led you down the path of doing?
Okay, so I came out of school in 2016 and did my national service, and after national service I tried in vain to get a job. And I'm the kind of person who has always been good at doing things with my hands. So I was like, why do I sit around waiting for a job if I can do something, to sustain me? So okay, so at this point, as I ran the thread through and then I pulled it together, and then I'm just trying to do something like kind of like a rose flower. Okay. So it depends on what you want. So you just bring it together like this.
Very nice.
And then you have to sew through it to secure it. Yes. That's after you've done, if you like the shape, the way it looks, then you secure it in place.
So we have a few messages coming through. One message here is coming from Clara in Dansoman. She says, "Wow, you do this so flawlessly." Yeah, that's one of the, I'm just also surprised and impressed at what you're doing, because as you said, it's just 2019 you started, and you know, you're doing such an amazing thing that you're doing. I'm curious, are you going to do the same thing again?
No.
Okay.
Something different.
This is like a petal piece of flower.
Kind of.
Okay. Can't wait to see the finished look. Secure the ends.
Yes. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to run the thread through the edges.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you're just joining us, you missed the first part. What she's doing here, she's running through the side edges, but what she did with the first one, this one here, she joined the two edges together before sewing through them. So can't wait to see what this one's going to turn out like. Yeah, but we have a WhatsApp line that you may want to send us a message if you have any questions for us. It's 0550585832. You can send the messages through. Also, of course, if you're watching on Facebook or any of the social media platforms, the hashtag is Breakfast Daily.
Okay, so this is how this one looks like. Yes. So if you attach it, you can just add this
and then add it
somewhere here.
Fancy.
And then add
nice.
embellishments to it. So if you want, you can still add more crinoline.
Okay.
Yes. So with this one, I have some feathers here.
Okay.
So depending on your taste, if you want to still maintain.
Show us how we'll add a feather to this look.
All right.
We have this look, and how will we add a feather to this? So Ruth from La Paz is asking a question. She says, "This is so amazing. Do you organize training sessions for individuals?"
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. So is it like a school or just one-on-one trainings you do that?
So far it's been one-on-one training.
Fantastic. And what are your social media handles if people want to reach out to you?
Okay, so on Instagram and Facebook it's Le Chapeau 07.
Le Chapeau 07.
Yeah, Le Chapeau is just a French word for hat.
Yeah.
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 So Le Chapeau 07.
Yeah. Okay. And is there a line, a phone number or WhatsApp line?
My WhatsApp line is 050-205-8908.
Fantastic. All right. So you've been watching and enjoying so much, this DIY segment with Elizabeth Awatey. Fantastic gift that she has. I can't even, I'm just overwhelmed by watching what she's doing here with the fascinator and with the headband. Of course, you can contact her on the WhatsApp line that she gave. What's the WhatsApp line again?
050-205-8908.
Okay, fantastic. Or you can also go to her social media handles. Are you on IG?
Yes.
Okay, so
as Le Chapeau 07.
07.
Yes.
Le Chapeau 07. You can go there and get in touch with her. And if you want to get training, she'll help you out as well.